All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Valsa Williams and with me is Sunil Verma. The headlines. India and China to hold core commander-level talks at Trishul in eastern Ladakh today for second phase of disengagement along LAC. along LAC. Political crisis continues in Rajasthan. Congress calls another legislative party meet in Jaipur today. Government aims to increase public health expenditure to 2.5% of the GDP by 2025. 19 states and union territories report higher recovery rate than national average of 63.01%. And WHO calls upon countries for comprehensive strategies to deal with COVID pandemic. The fourth round of commander-level talks between India and China will take place today at Trishul border post in eastern Ladakh. The last meeting was also held at the same venue on the 30th of June. Army sources said the talks mainly focus on the second phase of disengagement along the line of actual control. More from our correspondent.
To follow up the work in progress, the Army commanders are meeting today. The meeting between Army commanders is important after the conversation between National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Chinese Foreign Minister Mr. Wang Yi on 5th July. In the meeting, they agreed that both sides should complete the ongoing disengagement process along the line of actual control to de-escalate the tensions in the region. The PLA has already retreated back as per the agreement by 2 kilometers in the friction points left Galwan Valley, Gogra and Hot Springs. Similarly, the Indian side also has moved back as per the mutual disengagement agreed upon during the last core commander level talks. The army sources said that today's talks mainly focus on complete disengagement at Finger 4 and further at Pangangso and Depsang plains. Indian delegation will be led by GOC Fire and Fury Corps, Lieutenant General Harinder Singh and South Xinjiang Military Province Commander Major General Lui Lin lead the Chinese side. Ramesh Chandra, All India Radio News, Leh.
Minister for Road Transport, Highways and MSMEs, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, will inaugurate and lay foundation stones for various new economic corridor projects worth over 20,000 crore rupees in Haryana in a web-based function today. Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar will preside over the function. The projects for inauguration include the 35.45 kilometer 4-lane Rohna-Hasangarh to Jhajjar section of NH 334B, costing 1,183 crore rupees, the 70 kilometer 4-laning of Punjab-Haryana border to Jind section of NH 71, costing 857 crore rupees, and the 85.36 kilometer 2-lane with paved shoulders Jind-Karnal highway on NH 709, costing 200 crore rupees. The projects for foundation stone laying include the 227 kilometer 6-lane access-controlled Greenfield Expressway from Ismailpur to Narnaul on NH 152D in 8 packages costing 8,650 crore rupees. A report.
Mr. Gadkari will inaugurate projects worth over 2,240 crore rupees. He will also lay the foundation stone for projects worth over 17,750 crore rupees, including the 227-kilometer 6-lane access-controlled Greenfield Expressway for Ismailpur to Narnaul on NH 152D. The government said the projects are expected to save time, fuel and cost and benefit the backward regions of Haryana. The projects will provide connectivity within Haryana as well as to neighbouring states of Punjab, Delhi, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. Shantanu Pratap Singh, AIR News, Chandigarh.
Road Transport and Highways Ministry has clarified that the heavy road making machinery are not motor vehicles and are not covered under MV Act. It has requested the states and union territories to not insist upon registration and driving license for these machines. In a letter to the transport departments of all states and UTs, the ministry has informed regarding a number of representations received on road building and rehabilitation equipment, wherein concern regarding registration of cold recycling machines and soil stabilization machines under Central Motor Vehicles Rules 1989 has been raised.
As the political crisis deepens in Rajasthan, the Congress party has scheduled another legislative party meet in Jaipur today and invited Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot along with the other MLAs with him to be a part of it. Talking to reporters last night, Congress spokesperson Randeep Surjewala said the invitation for attending the meet would be sent in written to Sachin Pilot and the other MLAs as well. Yesterday, the Congress Legislature Party has passed a resolution supporting the Ashok Gehlot-led government. The Ashok Gehlot-led Congress government plunged into a crisis after Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot declared an open rebellion. Mr. Pilot had claimed that the Gehlot government has been reduced to a minority as over 30 Congress MLAs are supporting him. Details from our correspondent.
Senior Congress leader Randeep Surjewala again claimed that the Gehlot government is stable and has the support of 109 MLAs. On the other hand, former Assembly Speaker and Pilot loyalist Deependra Singh Shekhawat has demanded the floor test and claimed that they have the support of 30 MLAs. Senior MLA of Congress, Hema Ram Chaudhary, questioned why the Gehlot government has locked up the legislatures in the hotel if it has majority. Meanwhile, a video was released last night from Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot, in which some of his supporting MLAs are seen sitting in a resort. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
The Union Health Ministry has pushed for an increased expenditure on public health. In a meeting with the 15th Finance Commission, the Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has highlighted that the government aims at gradually increasing the public health expenditure to 2.5% of the GDP by the year 2025. The minister asserted that the outlay for primary health expenditure will also be made nearly two-thirds of the total public health expenditure in the country. Reiterating the government's target of the National Health Policy 2017, Dr. Vardhan emphasized on the importance of increasing the state's health sector spending to nearly 8% of their total budget. The Health Ministry apprised the Finance Commission of the need to further strengthen the public health sector, surveillance and public health management, preventive and promotive healthcare system in the country. The Health Ministry has also revised its requirement of around 4 lakh crores to 6.04 lakh crores in the light of the COVID pandemic.
The total number of recovered cases from coronavirus in the country today crossed the 5.5 lakh mark. The central government said a total of 5,53,471 people have been cured in the country so far. With this, the national recovery rate has reached 63.01%. 18,850 people have recovered from COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. There are 19 states and union territories which have a higher recovery rate than the national average. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry said a total of 28,701 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported in the country within 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 8,78,254. This is the highest number of fresh cases recorded in one day since the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic in India. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 3,01,609. In a single day, 500 deaths were reported, taking the nationwide toll to 23,174. With this, the case fatality rate has reached 2.63% in the country.
The Delhi government has said a total of 1,246 new confirmed cases of coronavirus have been reported in the city during the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 1,13,740. There are 19,017 active cases in Delhi. Delhi Health Bulletin yesterday confirmed that a total of 91,312 people affected by coronavirus have been cured so far, and the recovery rate has reached 80.28% in the city. In Bihar, AIIMS Patna has started human trial of coronavirus vaccine on 10 volunteers selected by hospital authorities. Several people offered to take part in the trial, but only 10 people were selected for the process. The first dose has been given to selected people, and after an interval of 14 days, second dose will be given. Doctors are keeping a strict vigil on the people who have taken the dose of vaccine. A team of doctors has been constituted for this. After completion of the scheduled period, check-up of people will be undertaken for after effects of the vaccine. The vaccine has been jointly developed by the National Institute of Virology, Pune, and Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech International Limited in collaboration with the Indian Council of Medical Research. It is the first indigenous vaccine developed in India.
In Jharkhand, 189 new cases have been reported in the last 24 hours, taking the total toll to 3,963 COVID-19 cases in the state so far. A total of 33 people have succumbed to the death toll. Meanwhile, 43 people have recovered from the viral infection in the last 24 hours, taking the total count of recoveries to 2,351. With the addition of new cases every day, the recovery rate has further declined to 59.32%. Chief Secretary Sukhdev Singh has instructed all the Deputy Commissioners of 24 districts to mandatorily conduct COVID-19 tests on every single person entering the state. Gujarat has recorded 902 new COVID cases during the last 24 hours. Total number of cases detected so far in the state has gone up to 42,808. Quoting official sources, AIR Ahmedabad correspondent reports that 10 patients have lost their lives yesterday. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
Out of 902 new cases, maximum 207 cases have been reported from Surat city. Ahmedabad city recorded 152 new cases. Out of total 10,945 active cases in the state, the conditions of 74 patients are serious. The total patients recovered from the COVID-19 have gone up to 29,806. More than 4,70,000 tests have been carried out in the state. Meanwhile, Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has increased the fine for not wearing a mask and spitting at public places from rupees 200 to rupees 500. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
In Maharashtra, the leader of opposition in Legislative Assembly, Devendra Fadnavis, and leader of opposition in Legislative Council, Praveen Darekar, have written a letter to Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray expressing concern over the growing number of COVID-19 cases in the state. Our correspondent reports that both the leaders visited prominent civic bodies like Thane, Bhiwandi, Panvel, Navi Mumbai, Ulhasnagar, Nagpur, among others.
Devendra Fadnavis and Praveen Darekar suggested that the government should make proper arrangements of beds, oxygen and ventilators for the civic bodies according to their grades, as there is a shortage of these facilities including ambulances. They have pointed out towards the lack of facilities in makeshift COVID centers. Both the leaders have expressed concern about heavy bills being charged by private hospitals in the state and requested the Chief Minister to hold a meeting in person for taking the updates directly from them. Shailesh Patil, AIR News, Mumbai.
In Karnataka, 2,738 new COVID-19 positive cases were reported in the state yesterday, increasing the total number to 41,581. Among the new cases, 1,315 cases were reported from Bengaluru. Meanwhile, the one-week lockdown in the Bengaluru urban and rural districts announced by the Karnataka government will begin from 8 p.m. today. Our Bengaluru correspondent has filed this report.
During the lockdown, the government given relaxation to shops, including ration shops dealing with the food, groceries, fruits, vegetables, milk booths to open only from 5 a.m. to 12 noon. Banks and telecommunication will function. Taxis, auto and public transport will not be allowed to operate during the lockdown period. There will be complete seal down in containment zones. The booth level task force will go door to door to enumerate people who are above 60 years of age. Chief Minister has assured the people should cooperate by remaining indoors, and he also assured that the lockdown will not extend beyond the one-week period. R. Murthy, AR News, Bengaluru.
The Tamil Nadu government has suspended public bus transport in the state till the end of this month. The decision has been taken as many districts outside Chennai are witnessing soaring numbers of new COVID-19 cases. Meanwhile, the COVID-19 tally in Tamil Nadu has surpassed over 1,42,000 with 4,328 people confirmed positive yesterday. However, a little over 3,000 people returned home after recovery. Our correspondent reports that the death toll has mounted to more than 2,000, with 66 patients succumbing to the disease in the last 24 hours.
public buses was originally suspended till the 15th of this month. It is now extended till July 31st, as fears have been raised about the possibility of new COVID-19 clusters getting formed due to opening of public transport. Till recently, Chennai contributed to most of the total infection in the state. Of late, other districts have started catching up fast with the state capital in the spread of the disease. The move to halt bus transport for a little longer is said to be in the right direction to put a brake against the viral spread. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you views of leading medical experts on COVID-19. Speaking to AIR News, Dr. Saurabh Mehrotra, consultant at Mental Health Division in Medanta Hospital, emphasized that people should indulge in positive addictions like reading books, music activities, and exercise.
Positive addictions would include the creative arts, such as drawing, writing, painting, qualify as positive addictions. Music is positive addictions. People who are interested in dancing, that's a positive addiction. Playing a game with family members has the beneficial effect of both the social interaction as well as the fun of the game. Some people like to do gardening, some people like to do cooking. All of these qualify as positive addictions and have a significant benefit in reducing the stress. Then social connection is very important.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India and China to hold Corps Commander level talks at Trishul in eastern Ladakh today for the second phase of disengagement along LAC. Political crisis continues in Rajasthan. Congress calls another legislative party meet in Jaipur today. Government aims to increase public health expenditure to 2.5% of the GDP by 2025. 19 states and union territories report higher recovery rate than national average of 63.01%. And WHO calls upon countries for comprehensive strategies to deal with COVID pandemic. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said India is among the most open economies in the world. He was interacting with the CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, through video conferencing yesterday. The Prime Minister said Indians are adjusting to and adopting technology at a rapid pace. Mr. Modi and Mr. Pichai spoke on a wide range of subjects, particularly leveraging the power of technology to transform the lives of India's farmers, youngsters and entrepreneurs. Mr. Modi also spoke about the recent steps being taken by the government towards reforming agriculture and creating new job opportunities. The Prime Minister explored the idea of virtual labs that can be used by students as well as farmers. On the issue of data security and cyber safety, he said tech companies need to put in efforts to bridge the trust deficit. Technological solutions to expand the scope of online education, access to technology in native language, use of augmented reality and virtual reality to give a stadium-like viewing experience in sports, and progress in the area of digital payments were also discussed. The Prime Minister said he was delighted to know more about the efforts of Google in several sectors, be it in education, learning, digital payments and more. Sundar Pichai briefed the Prime Minister about new products and initiatives of Google in India. He mentioned the launch of Artificial Intelligence Research Lab in Bengaluru while highlighting the benefits of Google's flood forecasting efforts. Mr. Modi appreciated the proactive role played by Google in battling misinformation and conveying information about necessary precautions.
Electronics and Information Technology Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad has said digital transformation powered by Digital India is filling the digital divide and allowing innovation in the country. Speaking on the 6th edition of Google for India through video conferencing, he said Aadhaar, UPI, GSTN and Ayushman Bharat are operating on digital platforms, and with this benchmark of success, India's movement has arrived. The minister said he appreciated the efforts of Google to make a huge investment and promoting innovations, information and digital awakening in India.
Google is making a huge investment in the Google India Digitization Fund. This becomes the most defining moment. Google is right into the occasion by trying to invest a fairly substantial amount in Indian Digital Transformative Fund.
Google CEO Sundar Pichai has announced an investment of 75,000 crore rupees in India over the next 5 to 7 years through Google for India Digitization Fund. Addressing Google for India event, Mr. Pichai asserted that the latest move is a reflection of the company's confidence in the future of India and its digital economy. He said the investments will focus on 4 key areas of India's digitization.
First, enabling affordable access and information to every Indian in their own language. Second, building new products and services that are deeply relevant to India's unique needs. Third, empowering businesses as they continue or embark on their digital transformation. Fourth, leveraging technology and AI for social good in areas like health, education, and agriculture. As we make these investments, we look forward to working alongside the Indian government as well as Indian businesses, all sizes, to realize a shared vision for a digital India.
Madhya Pradesh has emerged on top in implementing the Pradhan Mantri Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi PM Swanidhi scheme. The scheme is being implemented in the state to help the street vendors to continue their business. Apart from urban street vendors, a scheme to provide interest-free assistance of 10,000 rupees is also being implemented for the street vendors of rural areas in the state. More from our correspondent.
The Pradhan Mantri Street Vendors Nidhi Yojana has been launched to provide benefit to beneficiaries of 376 urban bodies of the state. So far, 15,500 cases have been approved in the state. An interest-free loan of amount 15 crore 50 lakh has been approved. As many as 8,70,330 street vendors have registered under the scheme. Interest-free working capital of 10,000 rupees will be provided for 1 year. A maximum special subsidy of 1,200 rupees will also be given in a year on conducting digital transactions. On timely repayment of the amount, beneficiaries will be able to get working capital of maximum 20,000 rupees in the next year. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
The Uttar Pradesh government has expanded the ambit of the emergency police helpline number 112 and linked fire, ambulance, railway police and disaster relief services with it. Now, people do not need to remember several emergency numbers and they can directly call 112 in case of any eventuality. We have a report.
Additional Director General of Police and in charge of Emergency Services 112, Asim Arun, told AIR that now for any kind of emergency issues related to Government Railway Police, Fire Control, 108 Ambulance and 1090 Women Power Line, people can call directly on 112.
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा कि हमें कोशिश करना चाहिए कि हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा अपनी ऐसी हेल्पलाइंस को 112 में मर्ज कर दें और इसी के तहत 26 अक्टूबर पिछले साल 19 में ये मुख्यमंत्री जी ने कदम उठाया.
The police response vehicles PRV of 112 services had played an important role in providing assistance, medicine and food to the needy during lockdown and extended its services to senior citizens also with a special Savera campaign. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistani Army initiated an unprovoked ceasefire violation along the line of control LOC in Tangdhar sector in North Kashmir's Kupwara district in the evening hours yesterday by firing mortars and other weapons. The Indian Army gave a befitting response to the Pakistani aggression. However, there were no reports of any casualties or injuries to anyone in the ceasefire violation when reports last came in. Army Chief General Manoj Mukund Narvane visited the forward areas in the Jammu Pathankot region to review the security situation and operational preparedness of troops deployed along the border with Pakistan. He interacted with the field formation commanders and troops on ground during his visit. General Narvane reinstated zero tolerance against ceasefire violations by Pakistan and infiltration attempts by terrorists. In Assam, there is no respite from the flood fury in the state as several major rivers are in spates. Floodwaters affected over 21 lakh people in 27 districts. 60,000 displaced people are taking shelter at relief camps. 50 persons have lost their lives in rain-related incidents so far. Surging water also disrupted road communications at several places in the state. Rescue and relief measures are being carried out. Dhemaji, Darang, Barpeta and Bongaigaon are among the worst affected districts. Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal and Union Minister Rameshwar Teli visited the flood-hit Dibrugarh district yesterday. Both leaders also visited flood relief camps at Chabua and Bindhakot. The Chief Minister directed officials to take special care of children and the elderly people in the camp while ensuring proper hygiene and social distancing.
Now let us take a look at the weather updates for today. In Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 23 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while maximum will be around 37 degrees. The city is likely to have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. In Srinagar, the temperature will hover between 16 and 31 degrees Celsius. The city is expected to witness a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. In Gilgit, minimum temperature was recorded at 18 degrees, while the maximum will be around 33 degrees. It is expected to have a partly cloudy sky, becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. Muzaffarabad may see a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The place witnessed a minimum temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, while maximum temperature will be around 36 degrees. Chandigarh will see a generally cloudy sky with one or two spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature was recorded at 26 degrees, maximum will be around 35 degrees. The national capital, Delhi, may witness a partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder and lightning. The minimum temperature was recorded at 28 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 38 degrees. Ahmedabad will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Minimum temperature in the city was 26 degrees, while maximum is expected to be around 33 degrees. Partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm is predicted in Bhopal. Minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 33 degrees.
The World Health Organization has warned that the pandemic is worsening globally and that there will be no return to the old normal for the foreseeable future. The Director General of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, said that the virus's spread is worsening in many countries. He called for countries to come up with comprehensive strategies to deal with the pandemic and noted that roughly half of all new cases are in the Americas. His remark came a day after Florida shattered the record among U.S. states for the largest single-day increase in new confirmed cases with more than 15,000. The United States has officially dismissed China's claims to offshore resources across most of the South China Sea and termed Beijing's campaign of bullying to control them as completely unlawful. U.S. Secretary of State Michael Pompeo issued a statement on the U.S. position on maritime claims in the South China Sea, saying that the Chinese government has no legal grounds to unilaterally impose its will on the region. Pompeo said that Beijing uses intimidation to undermine the sovereign rights of Southeast Asian coastal states in the South China Sea, bully them out of offshore resources, assert unilateral dominion, and replace international law with might makes right.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman chaired a meeting to review the implementation of Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana PMFBY through video conferencing in New Delhi yesterday. During the meeting, a presentation was made by the Department of Agriculture, Cooperation and Farmers Welfare, where the journey of PMFBY since Kharif 2016, as well as challenges encountered and the status of implementation for the current Kharif 2020 crop season were discussed.
And now, an overview of today's newspapers. Google committing $10 billion to boost India's digital economy is a story highlighted across papers. Amid China ad ban, Facebook Jio deal, Google to pump $10 billion into India, writes the Times of India. On the political face-off in Rajasthan, Hindustan Times headlines, Rajasthan turmoil continues as Gehlot pilot dig in heels. Number of students getting 95% plus in CBSE Class 12 surges 119% is the lead in the Times of India. Food inflation dips to 9-month low of 7.87% in June, observes Hindustan Times in a front-page story. The Economic Times cites an internal estimate by Wall Street bank JP Morgan, saying India Inc. set to raise record $30 to $35 billion in share sales this year, with local lenders and businesses tapping into global liquidity. And finally, tax super-rich more, millionaires tell governments. The Asian Age reports a group of over 80 of the world's richest people, calling themselves millionaires for humanity, have called on governments to permanently increase taxes on the wealthy elite to help pay for the economic recovery from COVID-19 crisis.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India and China to hold core commander-level talks at Trishul in eastern Ladakh today for second phase of disengagement along LAC. Political crisis continues in Rajasthan. Congress calls another legislative party meet in Jaipur today. Government aims to increase public health expenditure to 2.5% of the GDP by 2025. 19 states and union territories report higher recovery rate than national average of 63.01%. And WHO calls upon countries for comprehensive strategies to deal with COVID pandemic. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.